Meeting of the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee to order at 4:38. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Back over here. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have a roll call. Both directors are present. Approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
Okay, I motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. The agenda is approved. Public comment. Are there any members of the public in person that are here for a public comment? No? No comment?
I'll have a comment when you get to the various items. I'll raise my hand and wave.
Okay. But you, neither of you gentlemen have a comment?
Actually, I don't really even know what's going on.
Oh.
Other than you're trying to change our trash service or something. You're going to force us to pay. So it might help if you kind of started with just a little.
But that isn't on our agenda. We had a meeting this morning regarding that.
Okay, what's on the agenda right now?
Oh, we do have an item on that later on, but right now we're just getting through the business portion of the meeting, which is approving everything and seeing if there's any public comment for items not necessarily on the agenda. Yeah, so if you had anything, you could do it now. Okay?
Okay.
Can you see?
And
Cheryl,
public
she
comment
waves?
online? There's no public, just,
Okay.
okay. All right, approval of the minutes. Rebecca, do you approve?
Yes, I approve of the minutes.
Okay, I do as well. The minutes are accepted. And review of our quarterly report. Ms. Sevi.
Yes, so we have our quarterly report for the fourth quarter 2022 from CR&R. This is kind of a draft just because they did have some computer issues, so they're a little delayed in getting us the financial data. But as you can see, we continue to tick up in the number of account service for residential, and it looks like we lost one commercial account. And that happens as businesses close or all sorts of things. So, actually, that might have been a roll-off for a house being built.
Oh,
So the roll-offs count towards commercial. So that explains that. And our businesses are all recycling if they're required to recycle. And we just have our one multifamily account still. And that's about it. So if there's any questions, I can try to answer them. Or we have Brett Spears and Brandon here.
I only have one comment I'd like to make, and that is the reporting period has the wrong date on it.
Yeah, we noticed that.
Okay, thank you.
Do any of the members have, or any of the public have a comment regarding the review of the quarterly report? Rebecca, do you have any
Nope,
comments?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, if there's no other questions, then we'll move on to item 5, which is review of solid waste events. Ms. Sevi.
Okay, so we had our workshop this morning at 10 a.m. that was regarding SB 1383 and our other recycling requirements from the state. And so that was about 2 hours. The recording will be put online, so I encourage everyone to watch it because it was very detailed and informative about what's coming for the community. And then May 13th, we have a composting workshop out here in our garden. It's right by the district office. That's put on mainly by Michelle Hannon. She's a master composter and gardener. Our kids events, we will be having our art contest again in April or May. And all that art goes into the calendar that the district puts out annually. And then we will attempt, depending on if we have it or not, a kids craft class in the summer of 2023. If our seniors are ready to come back and put together a craft class again, we'll facilitate a solid waste and recycling themed class. But so far, they haven't come back. And then our first community cleanup, so you can bring household trash and tires up to 9. Is March 11th, 8 a.m. to noon, and then you can see kind of that schedule of events throughout the year. Those are posted on our website as well under our district calendar. We're still waiting on the date for the household hazardous waste collection event, which I think is going to be in Wrightwood this year. It alternates between Wrightwood and Phelan annually. But as soon as I have that information, it'll show up in this packet as well as the board packet and online.
Nice.
And then we'll have another used oil filter exchange event at AutoZone in the fall. We still don't have the date for that. Our school programs, we recently went out and saw Mr. Eco perform at Phelan Elementary. So it's a great program. He just encourages recycling and just talks about stuff related to water conservation as well. I don't know if Snowline is doing the Healthy Snowline event. If they are, we'll have a booth there. We'll have a booth at Fun Days as well. And if the district does STEM night again, we will also have a booth there. So it's kind of dependent on their schedule. So I did put some of the flyers in there. So we have our community cleanup flyer. And it just basically goes over everything you can bring and what not to bring. And it is for residents only, not businesses. And are there any questions about that?
Any questions?
Can I just ask a quick question? When are they gonna upload the video from this morning?
As soon as Mr. Fish is able to upload the video from this morning.
So there's no guideline for when I should just keep checking the page?
What do you think, Don?
Well, I'm gonna try to get it done tonight.
Yeah, check back like maybe tomorrow evening.
Yeah, because I actually went on the page looking to see if there was any.
Not yet, yeah. We have to upload it.
Okay, so that was review of solid waste events, number 5.
I have a quick question.
Okay,
This is Peter Barnes on Zoom.
hi.
During the informational meeting this morning, it was mentioned that there would be other informational meetings that perhaps more times that would be easier for people who work to attend. But I didn't see any mention of that. Is there still plans for that?
Yeah, so those are complicated to get together, so they're kind of hard to plan way out. I have to get schedules from the county, the consultant, and Cal Recycle in order to put that together. And I do want to wait just long enough to where we have some new information to present as well. And so as soon as I have those, Peter, you will be made aware of them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public have any comments? Nothing? Okay, then we're going to move on to item number 6, SB 1383 and recycling requirements compliance order.
Yeah, so we spent about 2 hours on this topic this morning, kind of informing the community of what the law is regarding not just SB 1383, but recycling and what our program is probably going to look like. And so I'm just going to go through our agenda here. So we did receive a draft compliance order, and the state is working on putting that together. Essentially, it outlines what we're already planning on doing as far as our timeline and our programs. And so once we get that, that'll be brought to the committee for review. Okay. And then they'll tell us how long we have for the certain elements to come into compliance. And then regarding the de minimis, we're keeping this on the agenda just to keep it in our minds. When we do revise the ordinance, we're going to make sure that de minimis is not just for commercial, but also for residential. And anything else that we need to update is part of that ordinance. And so when we bring that draft, it's going to come to the committee probably in February, so our next meeting, for review before we take it to the board. So it'll be redlined with the changes.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Yes, I heard good things about your meeting. You guys did a wonderful job. Thank you for organizing that, Brendan. Thank you for being there, Brent. Thank you. Do either one of you have anything you guys would like to add that maybe you forgot today, or you felt after a couple hours you said, hey, that's important? Brent?
Oh, I would like to just add that, once again, thank you, Kim, for putting it on. I think it was a good first meeting. It starts this ball rolling to allow people to be here, to ask the questions about what it's all about. Please make sure you're at the next meetings. So you will find out more, and that we plan to have more of those, because this is something that we're trying to expose to everybody to make sure that they understand what's coming up, and it's not CR&R doing it, it's not the CSD doing it, it's the state of California and laws and regulatory stuff coming from the state of California. So please attend those meetings, ask the questions so that we're all clear on what's going on.
And if I could just jump in, I would have loved to be at the meeting, but I had plans in the morning that unfortunately I couldn't change.
Yeah, so the next one will either be on a Saturday or in the evening. And then a third one will either be on a Saturday or an evening, whatever is opposite. So we're trying to catch all the different types of schedules possible. And again, the recordings will be on the website. So if you're not able to attend, just watch the recordings. And if you still have questions, you can call the district office or you can email us. We have a customer service email, and we'll answer those
I
questions.
actually called CR&R and asked them what's going on. And I got pretty much, we don't know.
If you call corporate, they don't know. So you got to call the district, because every single jurisdiction has slightly different programs, depending on, what's available to them and what they already had in place before the new regulations went into effect. But yeah, so the same number you'd call for your water bill, just call and then we can help you out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca, do you have any questions?
No.
Brandon, you have nothing?
The only thing that I kind of wanted to mention is there was some confusion this morning about what's recyclable. A lot of people had questions what they're doing with their aluminum cans, their bottles that they're taking themselves now. If you guys have questions about that kind of stuff, we have information not only on our website but at our site in Phelan too, where I'm at all the time. So if anybody ever wants to come and we can go over any of that, I'm always open to that too, and kind of help ease the transition a little bit.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, do we have any members of the online that would have a comment regarding this item? Okay, I'm hearing none.
Yeah, yes,
Oh.
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know, Kim, it pertains to the questions I raised in the meeting this morning, and I don't know, probably haven't had any time to explore that, but the point of my questions this morning relative to both the elevation waiver and to the idea of trying to come up with a way to not have to require permits for the self-haulers goes to saving the CSD money and so that you don't have to fill out so many forms. And I don't know, have you actually looked into the elevation waiver in terms of what impact that would have on
We did. And again, the elevation waiver is for food waste only, not for the rest of the organic material. So even if we get a waiver to not pick up the food waste for that small area of the community, we still have to pick up their green waste and their recycling. So it really is not going to save much, other than we don't need to inspect like
The food, yeah.
5-10 houses for food waste.
A follow-up to that, if I understand it correctly, and please correct me if I don't, there's two ways the CSD can go. One is the per-person household weight, and the other is the performance, which requires 90% compliance. Is that 90% home pickup? Is that how they define that?
Brent, do you want to speak on that, or Kim?
The 90% compliance.
No, I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, let me get back to you on that one, Cheryl. The way that I interpreted it is you need to have 90% curbside collection. And so I don't know how our drop-off program for self-hauling would factor into that participation.
It would just reduce all of your reporting requirements, right?
Yes and no. There's still a bunch of stuff that we still have to track and give to the state. All it does is, I believe it just changes the type of auditing that you have to do. But let me get back to you on that, Cheryl. Let me talk to CalRecycle about it. And
I think Brightwood has the elevation waiver, so.
but for food waste only, and it's not forever.
Right, but at least for now. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Debbie McAfee also has a question.
Deborah, Debbie, you have a question?
Yeah. Okay, I have a couple of comments. One, you said it's possible that you might, do one of the, like, green waste every other week and recycle and regular trash every week. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we're looking at that as a possibility if we think that will meet the requirements and
I
will.
think that's, first of all, once you start doing green waste, the regular trash bin is not gonna have anything nasty in it. So why, you,
So health
anyway.
code still requires weekly pickup of trash. So health code would need to be amended.
okay, and then, oh, there was something else. Shoot, I forgot.
That's okay. You have my email and phone number. You can call me.
Oh, yeah, okay, never mind.
Okay, thank you. No other comments or questions from anybody? Okay, all right, well, then we're going to move on to
Oh, wait,
item.
I was trying to find my hand. I can't, I lost my hand.
Okay, go ahead.
I got a couple of questions. Well, one is a statement, I guess. When they, I can't remember who said it, but the statement was made that methane is way more important than CO2. And the thing is with diesel trucks, it's not the CO2 that's killing us, it's the particulate matter. So that kind of is a moot point, but and a little deceptive. So the other thing is a lot of counties have provided very low cost recycle bins, like preferably tumblers. I know they've offered like 2 or 3 styles, but the tumbler type would easily take care of all of our kitchen waste, even if I didn't have chickens and goats. I mean, I have chickens and goats. Most of it, everybody I know has chickens or something to feed food scraps to. But even if you don't have anything to feed the scraps to, the tumbler style composters, and an hour class teaching people how to use it would keep people from having to put that stuff in there. So I would like to see an offer of some way that we can, because a decent tumbler style composter is about $100, and they had them for like $40 at San Bernardino at one time. So if we could even offer them for $50 or something and get more and more people to use them, and that stuff goes straight in the garden or on your trees or whatever. So that was the 2 things that I would like somewhere to be noted.
Okay. Yeah, and SB 1383 does allow composting as a way to comply with food waste. I believe at one time, I believe the haulers, Brent, weren't they asking Cal Recycle if they were to give everybody like a compost blaster 9000 or whatever you call them? Would that be an acceptable way to comply with SB 1383? And they said no.
Yes, we did present that early on to Cal Recycle as a means to take care of the rural areas especially. And at the time, they told us no. Now you pointed out that it is acceptable, so maybe things have changed with that. It doesn't... It's a way for many to go ahead and not have to do it. I don't know that we'd be able to get 100% participation of that. So not getting 100% participation, the truck is still going to have to drive down the road to pick up the one on that street, even if the other 9 are doing it. So there's still, we still have to pick up the one, even if the other 9 aren't. So we're still have to put a program together.
Yeah, and I think
it's required by Cal Recycle for them to put a program together. Whatever it looks like, we'll be happy to do, whether it's composters or bins or whatever. But they do have to put a program together, and there needs to be full participation, whether it's 90%, 60%, or whatever. That still has to be met.
Yeah, and so let's just say everybody did compost and we never saw any green material in the trash bin. That would be great. As far as kind of subsidizing the cost of compost bins, that's definitely something that we can look at. And we're about to go through our budget in just a few minutes. And so, you know, if that's something that the committee and then ultimately the board, you know, wants to consider, we can do that. I know we do like promotional giveaways during our compost workshop, which we haven't had in a few years. We do give away some composters and stuff like that, but we could look into kind of maybe more bulk procurement for those who want a compost bin and kind of help covering the cost of all or most of it. So that's a great idea.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, now I remember. Okay. Yeah, I was going to talk about the compost too. I mean, LA City is doing these Zoom classes, and if you take the Zoom class, you can sign up for either a worm bin or a composter, a backyard composter. But also, you know, during the meeting this morning, you were talking about, you know, that maybe you could not commingle the organic waste with the green waste. And LA County is doing it. There's a whole list. They're giving away indoor compost buckets to everyone who wants one. You can keep it under your kitchen sink or wherever, in your laundry room or wherever. And then you just go and dump it on top of your leaves or grass cuttings or whatever you have in the green bin. And I guess your problem with that is you can't find a compost facility that will take all of those things. And my opinion here is then tell them you're not going to contract with them unless they take everything. Why would you want people to be putting this stuff in a plastic bag? Then someone's going to have to be at the other end grabbing those plastic bags, opening up those plastic bags. So yeah, I'm suggesting that you really need to work hard to find a compost company that will take the commingled organic waste and green waste as one dump, I guess. And also you need to consider giving people kitchen compost bin boxes for their kitchen.
Regarding the processors that can take it commingled. Yeah, we do it in our Paris facility. But that would mean I'd have to truck all this material to Paris. That would be very costly. We are looking for somebody here in the high desert to be able to do just exactly what you asked for, and that is to be able to commingle it. At this time, we have the possibilities are out there. I haven't said that we have to put it in plastic bags yet. That might be where we go, but we're hoping to still find a processor, like you pointed out, that can take care of both of it.
I mean, whoever takes your green stuff right now, if you threaten to take away their your work, they might.
But if I do that, then where am I going to take it? If I threaten to take it away from them, I still have to take it somewhere. So now instead of the cost involved of taking it down to another processor will be even higher.
And we're not contracted with anybody right now for green waste because we don't collect it.
Correct.
Okay, well, it's a state mandate, so it seems like some compost facilities that is the direction that they should be going.
Well, I agree with that, and that's the state should have thought about this before they put 1383 in force. They did it 1383 and then asked us all to figure out how to do it. And that's what we're trying to do, is try to figure out a way to do this that is easiest on the public.
Yeah, and then we are, like we just said, we're going to look at the options that we have available for providing compost bins, whether they be the in-home countertop ones or the larger tumbler ones for outside.
Okay, I mean, I have one other comment. I would really appreciate it if you could stop bashing the state, because I think most of the participants here are supporting what they're doing. So, you know, you need to understand that there's some people that actually like this. They just don't like how you're implementing it.
Yeah, and so the way we're implementing it is very similar to how everyone around the state is implementing it, because whether they say it or not, CalRecycle does set forth very detailed reporting requirements, which limits you to how you can dispose of and collect the waste. And so the only difference with us is we're a rural community that didn't have the 3 levels of service already. We had a subscription-only, trash-only service, and everybody's self-hauling. And so for us, it's just a unique challenge to comply with SB 1383, and that, the state did not take into consideration when they developed the regulations, because they see us as all cities. So
True. One size does not fit all. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Meredith, you have a question or comment?
I was wondering, did anybody from here go to the composting conference in Ontario? Because there were going to be a ton of people. It's a 4 or 5 day event, and there were going to be a ton of people there with ideas and companies who do composting and that sort of thing. So I couldn't go because I broke my foot and my husband had surgery, but I had planned on going, and I know people who actually spoke at the conference. And there was a ton of information that somebody could have gotten. Did anybody go?
No, I can't go to a 5-day compost conference. I'm sorry. Brent, did you go?
Ontario, you don't have to stay there for 5 days. You can go for any number of days. It was expensive, but I think for the entire.
And I do want to point out,
$700.
I think that there's a disconnect. So what we're doing with our program is not just complying with SB 1383, which deals with organics, right? We're dealing with a recycling issue as well. And so we're having to develop a program that addresses both of those matters.
Correct.
Just one question, or actually have you seen the Lahontan rules that are up for public comment now on manure?
No, but I'm sure you'll send them to me.
Happy to. Meredith sent them to me.
Thank you.
Meredith, and I will send them to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 7. So it's the review of committee roles and responsibilities in SEVI.
Yeah, I just want to know if you guys had any changes you wanted to make to these, and if so, we can take them to the board.
I have no changes. Rebecca?
Nope, no changes.
You're good with that?
Yep.
Okay. Does the public have any comments regarding committee roles and responsibilities? Okay, thank you. Sure.
I think you're very serious when you say that all this has not been thought out and put together. You guys have been together as best you can at this time, on this day, or last week, or whatever. So as these, when you know all this stuff, and you guys have to scramble these things. And like John said, if you call one office, they don't talk about if you call your office, they don't talk about. But one office doesn't know what the other office is doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes to the issues like that, the role you think is
Right.
I'm perfectly happy to try something like that. I'm not gonna try everything to comply.
Sure.
And we encourage that. We totally encourage that.
But not everybody's going to do it.
No, not everybody's gonna do it, but give it time.
Of course.
You can provide some tumblers or something to hold the green stuff or whatever that we don't get to our chickens. We pretty much give everything to our chickens.
Okay.
And that's how it's eaten and disposed of.
Right.
But I suppose if you guys can give us a hand on some of these canisters, it might go smoother than we thought.
Well, and I know they're all working very diligently on this, and I appreciate your compliment to us. They're really trying. This is all something new, and we're trying to get it together that serves everybody.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
So basically, you're telling us that the state, the California state, is throwing this at us saying, well, now that we're gonna help you collect your trash or whatever, your trash belongs to us, you're gonna comply to what it is we want, how you collect it and how you dispose of it. That's what the state is telling us, basically, right?
Go ahead, Kim.
So essentially, the state set forth regulations that require organic materials, so food and green waste, to not go to the landfill. It needs to be composted or put to beneficial use. And then, of course, there's the other components of SB 1383, like food recovery and other things. But in order for us to collect green waste and food waste, we have to have a way to do that. And so out here, all we had right now is a subscription-only service to CR&R, so it's optional. Or you can haul to the transfer station, right? And then in order for us to be able to collect the green waste, we now have to give you another can, right? If you're going to have CR&R. And then, or you're going to have to go to the dump and you're going to have to, separate that out there. And then the other issue we have is we're not meeting a recycling requirement from 1989, which is 50% diversion. And so we have to also collect recycling, or you have to take it to the transfer station and dispose of it separately from your trash and your green waste. And so, the problem is coming up with a way to do this where we can track it the way the state wants us to track it and report it. So, because we have to demonstrate that we're complying. And so, we've spent years on this. It's what it seems like, because we started with the commercial side of it and now we're moving on to residential. And, this is kind of where we've come up with that's going to be a cost-effective, manageable way to do everything that we need to do. Is it perfect? No. There's all sorts of outliers and variables. I know our folks on Zoom, they're great actors in this. They're already doing all of the stuff that the state wants everyone to do, but there's a lot of people out there that aren't doing anything that the state wants them to do. So they came forth with this regulation because they don't want all of this stuff going into the landfill.
Again, watch, everything that came out today. It'll be up on our
The
website.
microphone.
And that'll answer probably a lot more questions for you.
Yeah, it went into depth about it. So the consultant kind of went over the regulations and kind of where we're at right now.
Okay. Thank you. Sure.
Brings up a question. Mandates from the state, SB, whatever. What if you just ignore it?
Up to $10,000 a day per violation fines, and they could take that out of our reserves.
How much is in the reserves?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but $10,000 a day per violation would drain them pretty quick.
Instead of extortion, that's the.
Yeah, I mean, we are beholden to the state. We're, we are an independent special district. However, we must comply with the state laws. So, yeah, or they will pillage our reserves, potentially.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, how much is
Linda?
reserved right now?
I
We
would
don't
have to
our
look.
Yeah, we don't have our financials in front of us
Yeah,
for that.
3 million? No, it's more than
More
that.
than that.
Yeah.
But that 3 million will go pretty quick. And then that's going to start affecting other things if they start taking our reserves away from us. So I don't think we want to do that. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 8, which is the review of the strategic plan, the solid waste component of it.
Yep. So we're just reviewing the solid waste component of this because that's what this committee is about. And so basically, as we move through this plan, which gets changed from time to time, our franchise amendment, we've taken care of that one. And then 3.2, we updated this last year to adopt and amend as necessary an ordinance for uniform residential and commercial solid waste recycling and organics collection. And so that's going to be something that's done in the next few months to address the de minimis and the self-hauler provisions specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Our school outreach program, that's ongoing. Our procurement policy 3.4, we got great news last year that we don't have to do the mass procurement that we thought we were going to have to do, that they actually did exempt special districts. So the only procurement that we need to take care of at the district is recycled content paper products. So we just need to buy products that are made with recycled content if they're paper. And we're already doing that, and we already passed a resolution, everything that we need to be in compliance with that. And so 3.4, when we go back to the board for amendments for this, we can get rid of the procurement of mulch and renewable energy and stuff like that, because we give away a lot of mulch. I don't know if you guys know this. If you just come into the office and fill out a really simple form, you can get free mulch. It's located just behind our park. And I can't even tell you how many truckloads of mulch we give away each year. And even with giving away all that mulch, we would have only been about 7% of the mulch that we would need to procure had that regulation affected us. But thankfully it didn't. So we don't need to spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars procuring stuff that we can't use. We don't have land use, so we can't mandate like that people put mulch down or, do certain things. And so they did exempt us from that. So we're good on that. And then our edible food recovery program, that's still in development, and that's going to be part of our compliance order from the state. We've identified, to the best of our knowledge, the recovery organizations in our community. And the next step, the county has offered to facilitate this with their health and safety division, because they go in and do the permits for anybody who could possibly have edible food recovery. We have to negotiate the contracts between the generator and the recovery organizations, and then we have to do tracking for that. So they can't just give it away anymore. We have to make sure that they have an agreement in place and that they're monitoring and tracking how much they give away and that they give us that data. And so that's...
And Stater Brothers already does that, right?
Stater Brothers does. It's just we have to get our hands on what they're diverting from their store and where it's going, and then we have to make sure that there's a contract in place and that we're getting the
Data
quantities that they're donating.
Okay.
And then SB 1383 outreach and education. So today was a great example of some of the outreach we're doing and education. And so that's going to ramp up more as our program develops. And then 3.7 additional diversion program. So we're looking at ways to keep recycle material and green waste out of the landfill. And so we're coming up with programs. Our community cleanup's a great example, where you can get rid of the tires. So don't put those in your trash can. Wait for a waste event and drop it off there.
And the oil filter.
And then like an example of additional diversion programs to meet this goal could be providing compost tumblers or countertop composters for inside your house. So that would be an example of like a new way to keep material out of the landfill.
Very good.
So that's all I have on that. This will go to the board this year as part of the budget process to see if we need to change anything. And so other than 3.4, I don't really see any changes. And if
Unless you want to add, would you want to add those canisters on there? Or?
So I feel like we don't get too specific in this, that it does meet an additional diversion program.
Okay. Rebecca?
Sorry. Nope, I'm good. No questions, comments?
And if anything comes up between now and when it goes to the board, we can always change it.
Absolutely. Okay, any comments from in person? No? How about online? Amy, anybody? Okay, perfect, thank you. Thank you, Kim, for that. We're going to go to item number 9, which is the review of the 2023-24 solid waste CPI and program budget.
Okay, so sorry that this is so small. Okay, so this is our government fund capital improvement plan, and then it's also our repair and maintenance plan and programs that are a little bit more costly that we put in here. And so we're going to skip the parks portions of them, and we're going to just go down to ones that relate to solid waste. And so number 6, vehicles. We're going to budget for the next budget year to get a vehicle for solid waste because right now we don't have one. And so we're borrowing from engineering and water side or using our own personal vehicles to conduct activities related to solid waste. And those are just going to ramp up exponentially as we have to get into our monitoring and compliance program and going around and flipping lids and going to all these other events and meeting with business owners and other constituents. And so we are requesting that the board approve a vehicle for the next budget year.
Okay.
And then if you go to the next page, we just kind of budget in here. These aren't capital expenses or anything like that. It just shows that we're keeping the cost of our community cleanups and tire cleanups in mind and the cost of our various workshops. And then our commercial trash and recycling program, our marketing and software. And actually, that should not say commercial trash. It should just say trash and recycling program. So I'll update that before it goes to the board workshop. So our marketing is about $3,300 and our software. We did put in a tentative $35,000. We're going to be taking on the billing from CR&R. And so it's likely we're going to have to pay our billing program company some development costs for getting it implemented because it is quite a big data dump that we have to do from all of our parcels. And so our staff has started on it. Thank you, Amy, over there in the corner. It's quite a monumental project. And so if we need it, we would like to have that money in the budget.
Okay.
And then our household hazardous waste program, we contribute some nominal help to the county for this, mainly just in advertising. Miscellaneous marketing, so that's $15,000, and that's mainly related to SB 1383. So portions of it could be covered through our grant funding. Our school outreach program, that's primarily Mr. Eco and some of our contests we do, and then our service organization donations. One of the high schools reached out and they wanted some equipment so that they could clean up their school better, and so we provided that.
Okay.
And so that's about it. This is where if we wanted to up anything related to that diversion component, so maybe like giveaways such as compost bins, we could throw that in there.
And we don't have a rough estimate, though, of how much they would be, do we?
No, and so what we could do at staff level is come up with some figures and put this in here and bring it to the workshop, if you guys want to include that.
What do you think?
I mean, anything that we can do that, shows the public that we're listening and that, we want to provide, options. So I think it would be a good idea to at least find out what the cost would be.
Is, yes, and then bring it.
Yeah, and then we can also look to see if there's any grant funding available for this as well, because I would bet many that there's probably something related to this out there, and we'll see if we qualify for it.
Okay, so if you can
Definitely.
check that or add that, then that
Yeah.
would be fine. I have one question, though. Do you know off the top of your head, and I don't mean to throw this at you, but on your school outreach program, you have 11,000, and last year was 11,000. Do you know if you used that whole amount?
I can check into that for you, so
Okay.
I'll just pull those costs.
Thank you. I think that was all that I had. And then the 35,000, that's going to be in addition to what we already pay them, because we have to do a whole separate other billing.
Yeah, it's outside the
Component.
regular service contract that we pay for. So this is creating like a whole new billing component within our system. There's a lot of different rate tables that are involved in trash. So there's commercial, residential, temporary, and then there's all the different service types. And so it's quite a big matrix that has to be developed.
And what about, remember we discussed, and I know that Director Roberts had brought up GIS, which I know,
Yeah, so that's still ongoing. The data that we can get from, so what Director Roberts had wanted was an overlay, basically a parcel overlay to show who has service, so we can kind of figure out where concentrations are.
Okay.
CR&R's billing data doesn't track by APN. And so what engineering is doing right now, once we get the data from CR&R, because we requested their billing file, they're going to go ahead and input the parcel data because, you know, they can do all sorts of great things
Right.
in their program. And then once we have that, they'll be able to do that overlay very quickly.
Okay, I guess my question is, and we probably have enough with our current program for GIS that we don't need it, but do we need to add another component to that we need to, you think, add anything?
So it's not really a capital cost, it's a staff time. And so the staff time that engineering spends on solid waste activities, so creating maps or whatever, they
bill.
charge it to solid waste.
Okay.
And so we just make sure when we bring the budget to the board that the staff expenses
Easy.
are allocated either to the enterprise, which is water, or to government for parks and or solid waste. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think that answered all my questions. Rebecca, do you have any other questions?
No, no additional questions.
Okay, do we have any people online, Amy?
Yes. Not really a question.
Okay.
Just, you may need to boost up that marketing budget.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? In public, you have anything? No? Okay, perfect. All right, well, if there are no other questions like that, we'll move on. Thank you, Kim, for everything.
Yep.
So we're gonna move on to 10, staff report.
Yeah, so this is an overview of December 2022. So we pulled the data that we have from the quarterly report that CR&R provides. And so in December, we had 5,109 residential accounts for trash. And then no citations issued for commercial, of course not for residential because we're not doing that yet. We have one active self-haul permit for commercial recycling. And that's about it. And then, of course, we had our workshop this morning and our cleanup stats. So I'll leave this up to Brandon to give out. So we had a community cleanup back on November 5th of last year. That was at CR&R's yard, and we collected a lot of tires. So how many tires do you estimate we collected?
So we collected 5 roll-offs full, which each roll-off is 40 cubic yards. So if that gives you any kind of idea, each roll-off's holding like 200 tires.
Wow.
Residents are limited to 9 tires per person, bringing them in. We do what we can to accommodate people that are doing their best to clean up the desert and stuff, but I kind of want to reiterate that for this next cleanup is it's 9 tires per person, per residents bringing the tires in. But yeah, it's always a huge turnout, lines down the street, and same with the yard waste and MSW. You guys, great bringing that in. An entire roll-off full of just trash itself, so it was great.
Nice, great. Thank you. Okay, that's it for staff reports. Okay. Number 11, review of action items prior.
There were none.
Okay, current.
There are several, so mainly they deal with updating the CIP and a couple components in the or one component in the strategic plan.
Okay, perfect. Anything else you need to add to that, Rebecca?
No,
You can
thank
think of? Okay. All right, well, with all of that being said, then we'll set the agenda, which is item number 12 for the next meeting, which is February 16th. And we're good with that date? Okay. Anything else that I missed?
Not for me.
Okay. All right, well then our meeting will adjourn at 5:26. Thank you, everybody. You're welcome.